And regularly, I'd say I would probably take ayahuasca. Depends. Some years it can be twice. Other years it can be a dozen times. It just depends. I might have a weekend where I drink twice in a row with friends, or just by myself sometimes. Like I said, I've been taking mescaline recently. Breath work, that's been good. Like cactus, I'll do at least once a year. Mushrooms, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, something like that. I mean, for me these days, if I'm taking, high dose tryptamines, I'm generally going to be battling entities. It's a little bit of a pastime of mine. So yeah, it can be fun, but it can be quite hairy as well.
Why do you think you're battling entities in that?
Well, they don't like me. I'm a threat to them because they attack me, and I'm, in a kind of a war with them. But they're in a war with humanity. That's the thing. So, I mean, for me, I'm largely just going about my day, and I get attacked. And I'd say most of us are getting attacked most of the time until you can learn to defend yourself, and then you're not getting attacked. So for me, how I see most people is their minds have been confused by the entities, and the energy bodies have been manipulated by the entities. Our whole culture is manipulated, and everything around us is so manipulated by the entities. So I sometimes I like to see the glass half full as well, but generally I see the glass half empty, and the reality that I see is very stark. And also, it's at the coalface that I'm working with people, you see how bad it can get from people, how much suffering some people are in, Also, just working with people in the ayahuasca space, you kind of get that download. And yeah, certainly I think you've got to be a bit of a ninja to remain unscathed in this world with the kind of extent tyranny all around us. I think it is very tricky to navigate and stay sane in the insane society that pretends to be sane. But, I think in the last 5 years, the penny's dropped, and we just know it's, society's kind of bifurcated into tribal groups more, where we know more who is sane, who is thinking, and who's not thinking. Yeah.
What do you say to the people that are just like, Julian, leave the plants alone and turn to Christ?
Yeah, Jesus is great. I understand why you want to turn to him. He's powerful. He's got some mad moves. He does. Cut loose on the dance floor and chop up legions of demons in a few seconds. There's a lot to emulate there. But, like you said, greater miracles than I do, ye shall do, something like that, right? So for me, this kind, Australia's not like the United States. We certainly have a hardcore Christian contingent, but I certainly think there's something beneficial in that hardcore Christian theology. I can appreciate some of the meat and substance in it.
I do too.
Yeah.
I have an amazing book back here. I don't know if you've ever read it. It's called Christ the Eternal Tao.
Okay. Yeah.
Very fascinating book. It was written by a Russian Orthodox monk.
Yeah.
And he was working with this like OG Chinese teacher. And basically, he actually learned to translate the Tao Te Ching himself. And he drew all these comparisons and then went in depth about how Jesus was the incarnate version of the Tao. Interesting book. Anyway, there is a lot of cool stuff there. The problem is, it's like people like, on TikTok, for example, is the craziest. You post a video about meditation on TikTok, and you're going to have a whole heap of people saying, this is demonic. You're like, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like as if Christ himself wasn't a meditator,
Yeah. Well, I think like a lot of things, you get this cultic, you get the cultic co-option. I think very obviously Christianity and the teachings of Christ have been co-opted by many people through the centuries, and I think even though those teachings have been co-opted and captured, there's still some good stuff in there that keeps the people coming back as well. But honestly, I never have any of these people posting on my videos. I know your mate Tom. He said he gets heaps of these people. They never reply to me. Like they don't even try. So I never get that. I think any belief system is a trap, right? Anything that is so dogmatic is obviously a trap. And of course, it's sad when people get trapped in these belief systems, these cultic belief systems. But the 5MEO people very often, they've got their own traps they can fall into as well. They're like, 5MEO is the way. You can only go to, the only way to God is through 5MEO. So I'm working with a Christian family at the moment, and sometimes I pray. Sometimes I pray for my clients. Sometimes I pray in general. I think prayer is underrated, understated. I think that this kind of atheism in our world is despondent and depressing. And I think that a lot of people could do with some Christian charity and forgiveness. And, also Christianity contains within it an understanding of the supernatural, demons and so on. And, there's much more going on than demons out there, I can tell you that. But there certainly are demons too. And I think this de-enchantment of the world, I think the world has become less enchanted the more Christianity's been de-mainstreamed, and mainstream people in this day and age, I think a lot of them are quite disenchanted. And, it's kind of sad. I think, you might remember when you're a teenager, and it's pretty much the kind of exit ramp from materialism is quite occultic, almost satanic stuff. Where you start to look into the occult, Alexander Crowley. For a lot of people, that's their exit ramp into enchantment is Satanism.
Jeez.
That's sad, isn't it? But that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
A lot of people are really jazzed up by that they're communicating with these beings, and, jazzed up by breaking all the rules of being a bad person and the power they get, from these entities. This is a thing. This is going on in our society. This is all happening too.
Wow. Julian, are you down to do a part 2?
Sure, anytime.
All right, brother.
At some point, we can talk about some other stuff.
Yes, we will. This was really great. My family's